Hello again, everybody. I decided to do a longer review of a video from Far From Eden today because she is a conservative Christian YouTuber who's very anti-feminist, and she reviews some pretty good content. She has good conversation, and I think she does a good job of pointing out certain components of female behavior that men might not be very good at specifically diagnosing. So I'm going to go minute by minute through her video and break down the underlying behavioral components of what she's discussing. And I'll also occasionally get into the reason why she's saying what she is, because I would consider myself to be kind of an expert in conservative Christian worldviews, so I can understand why she's saying what she's saying, even when she maybe doesn't do it as well as she could. And I can also explain, if I ever disagree with her, I can explain probably why she thinks the way she does based on her worldview.
Is really genuinely girls supporting girls, and she said it herself. She was like, girls supporting girls, like, it makes the world of a difference. Like, everybody comes together when you support girls. Like, just support your girls, go compliment your girls, go make your girls feel good. You guys, I went into my
What does that have to do? What does that do? I don't understand how that makes the world better. I don't understand. It's just her feelings inside. This just shows you. It's another example how however she feels inside is how she sees the world. She'll just project that.
So we see her getting a little irritated. Kind of, it seems a little bit about nothing really. She's hyped up for this video, and she's excited about her opportunity to get her opinion out there. But there's really nothing wrong about women encouraging women. And I think the real reason why, and we'll get into this more later on, the reason why women are so excited when other women give them compliments is because women compete with women. And she says that later on too. Like I said, we'll get into that more later on, but women compete with women. They do not compete for men. You'd think that's the way it goes. Like, obviously, if you're trying to secure a mate, you'd want to be focused on what your mates are attracted to. But that's not necessarily the way it goes, because women are functioning based on social hierarchy. And this is driving more than just women's social behavior, sexual behavior, I should say. So when I say that women are highly functioning based on social hierarchy, what I mean is that they are assessing every component of their lives to see where they are on the food chain. And they are competing with each other based on that, because they are each other's competition. So long as they can beat each other in that social hierarchy competition, they've probably done okay. Now, they traditionally get their position in the social hierarchy from men, but appealing to men isn't necessarily what it's all about, because social hierarchy is a cumulative behavior thing. It's not just a sexual behavior thing. So this is kind of like the underpinning driver of all, maybe not all, but a large number of female behaviors. So it's more than just sexual. So like when a woman wears a bag, all of her accessories, her earrings, her nose rings, her tattoos, those aren't things that men are consistently attracted to. Like painting your nails, your toenails. Guys aren't really, if a guy came to me and said, "Hey, I've got this really hot chick," and I said, what do you like about her? And he started talking about her nails. I'd immediately be like, "Oh, well, she's obviously ugly because you didn't mention her face, her hips, her butt, her boobs." So women pay attention to those things because it tells them and other women what kind of lifestyle they're capable of providing for themselves, or at least capable of being provided to.
Not enjoying that as part of life. They still want to be young and hot, but you're not going to be. You're going to hit the wall. Anyway, so why am I telling you this? So they get they don't like it and they feel empty and everything. Well, they have these feelings inside, project that outward, and who's right there? The husband. Day in and day out, being reliable, trusty. But we've got all this inside of us. He's right there. Well, must be him. If we got rid of him, then everything would be good. Then we could have what we deserve.
So she's talking about how unfulfilled women will look at their father, their husbands, as the point of the problem when they start feeling like they're ungratified in life. And like I was saying before, social hierarchy, and women typically inherit their position in the social hierarchy based on what men they married. You know, before 21st century, 20th century, and feminism came into play, when we were still working labor jobs, women could not compete in the workplace with us. The women got their place in the social hierarchy by marrying a man with a high position. So when a woman starts feeling unfulfilled, it's at least probably in part because she is struggling in life, to some extent with her beauty, and when she sees things that are lacking in her beauty, she looks to supplement it with things like jewelry. And who provides those things? The men. So why isn't she more beautiful? Why can't she retain her feeling like she's on top of the hierarchy? Well, it's because her husband isn't working hard enough to provide her with enough stuff to keep her feeling like she's on top of her game as she ages. And this is a problem for men because, honestly, you will always be judged to some extent as a man based on your continuous output, and you're never going to be able to just stop. At least 99% of us are never going to be able to just stop. We are going to be persistently judged by our women based on what we are able to continuously provide, because that allows her to continue to feel established, feel safe in her social position. And we can complain about it, but that's the way we evolved. That's the way things are going to be. So you have to be able to find yourself someone who is capable of having a certain level of content, and that's very difficult. They probably have to be trained, and it's not an average woman, that's for sure. But you're also going to have to be able to understand that this is always going to be a part of life when you are living with a woman, that they are going to be judging you and pushing you because that affects how they view themselves as well. And that's not necessarily your fault, but it is just a part of the marriage deal.
A woman's horizon. Whatever men set about to impress women with counts for nothing in the world of women. Only another woman is of importance in her world. Of course, a woman will always be pleased if a man turns to look at her, and if he is well dressed or drives an expensive sports car, so much the better. Her pleasure may be compared to that of a shareholder who finds that his stocks have risen. It will be a matter of complete indifference to a woman if he is attractive or looks intelligent. A shareholder is hardly likely to notice the color of his dividend checks. It's not interesting. It's like, whatever, good, good, good.
So I'm sorry if this gets annoying, but I'm going to say it again. Social hierarchy. Everything in that quote that she found so fascinating there just speaks to the fact that women are judging men based on basically what status they occupy in life. We could make this entire conversation about why dating between men and women and why relationships are so complex if we just start using the terms evolutionary psychology and social hierarchy. It really does just sum all of it up. If you ever wonder why a man or a woman is behaving a certain way towards each other, just think to yourself, why would men and women evolve to basically create that kind of behavior? How does it serve to make us more effective at breeding and surviving and reproducing capable children who are capable of continuing to go on and also survive and breed themselves? It sums up everything.
But if another woman should turn to look, a rare occurrence, for her own judgment is infinitely more remorseless than that of a man. Her day is made. We just saw that. She has achieved the impossible, the recognition, admiration, and love of other women.
Are you listening, men? So she just, another woman, really two other women just said it. A woman's opinion of another woman will always be more valuable than a man's opinion because they are competing with each other. They are not competing necessarily for you. Any means by which they attend, by which they achieve their social hierarchy is valid. It can be through you, but not necessarily. And that's why a woman's opinion of another woman will always be valued more than yours as a man.
I've received a compliment from a woman, I feel like I'm doing it wrong. Am I supposed to act like that? Because I just go, thank you. I didn't know I was supposed to get giddy. Am I being rude to these other women? Because I'm like, thank you. That's so nice of you. Like, I guess I'm doing it wrong. Oops. I'm not a girl's girl. I'm not.
So she's getting a little judgy here, and she's doing the I'm not like the other girls routine, but uh, we missed part of the clip, but she was showing basically a clip of another girl getting really excited because she was complimented by another woman at the gym. And obviously, far from Eden, whatever her name is, I don't actually know her real name. She doesn't understand. She claims that she doesn't really understand what the excitement is all about. She totally understands it. She's just been trained to not be obsessed maybe about where she is in the social hierarchy, probably because she's been raised by someone who is actually actively involved in the church as a Christian. So she is uh, more focused on more Christ-like things, I guess you could say, so less basic natured and less obsessed with the kind of things that you would expect, the average woman to be enthralled by.
Between the pros and cons of false eyelashes, the matching of a dress, a stole, or a coat with the lighting. All this is an art requiring expert knowledge of which man has no conception. A man lacks any kind of appreciation for this. Yeah, in fact, nowadays we're finally hearing how little you guys like it. You don't like the fakery. You're not a fan. I think because now you realize how fake it is, how different these women look when they take off their makeup. That's contour and lashes and eyebrows and all the rest of it. Goodness gracious, way worse than what was going on back here. But what was going on in 1971 was way worse than what had happened, like compared to 1951. The difference. We all start looking like streetwalkers. That's what we've adopted, the look of a streetwalker. Think about it.
Good grief, man. That was a lot of judgment being passed right there. That some of that was a little excessive. Some of her comments were a bit excessive. Not even just a little, very. Eh, Women are not on average looking like streetwalkers. And I mean, even she looks like she's wearing makeup in this video, and it does help. We can't deny it helps to some extent. It probably helped men too, if it was socially acceptable, there'd probably be ways for us to contour our face with, anyways. Some of those things help, some of them don't. Your eyelashes, men, yeah, men don't care about eyelashes, and men probably don't. Most men are not liking the bimbo look, but there's nothing wrong with wanting to get dressed. It's just the extent that women take it is too far because it becomes focused less on their actual appearance and like we've been saying over and over again, what their appearance indicates about their place on the social hierarchy. All their expensive bullcrap that no one should really care about and is just shallow. That's the problem. Not you taking care of your appearance and trying to look a little bit better than maybe what you do without makeup. That's fine. Take care of your face. You know, wear the basics. You don't have to go overboard with it, but it's okay to take care of yourself. That comment from her was a little harsh.
In fact, when a woman dresses, she considers a man to a slight extent the extent necessary to hold him and to encourage him to provide in the wildest sense for her. Every other investment is aimed at other women. So when she says, I dress for myself, and we're telling her, no, that's a lie, you dress for men, that's actually not true. They're dressing to impress other women. Is it to compete? I wonder if
That is a really harsh reality to face as a man. And I dealt with this a lot in my own marriage, because I would try and shower my wife with real compliments on a regular basis, and I didn't understand why. It just seemed like it would shrug off her shoulders, just fall to the side. It was pretty empty. Became very empty very quickly in our relationship. But it's because it's not basically reminding her of where she sits in the competition, that she needs validation from other females to receive that. So if having you by her side is not basically something that continues to make her feel promoted in front of other women, well, that's going to be a really, you basically serve as a continuous negative compliment to her. And the compliments that you give are simultaneously going to be looked at as like coming from something that's a negative in her life. Really, really rough on marriages. So, guys, just be aware of that when you are feeling like maybe the words of affirmation that you gives your wives isn't necessarily being reciprocated fully. You have to understand that, and you have to help your wife understand how her behavior is affecting you as well because of that. Make sure that she understands what she's doing, how her behavior is being influenced by her need to gratify her own place in the social hierarchy, and how she can be considerate of your needs at the same time.
just enough rope to ensure his preferring life by her side to breaking his contract with her. I'm going to read that again. She gives her man just enough rope to ensure his preferring life by her side. It's to make him prefer life with her than to breaking the contract with her, like the marriage contract. That's right. They do just enough.
Super harsh words, right? And she's not wrong. That's the crazy thing. And that's why it's so important for you to be looking for women who are not just who have been raised to be more than princesses, and that is the princess mentality is just such a huge problem, and it's the same reason why I've refused to call my daughter a princess throughout her young life. She's 9 years old now, and my wife and family members have told me, like, isn't aren't you going to call her your princess? And I tell her, no, she's not my princess. She's a very important person. She's the most important person in the world to me, but she's not a princess. She does not occupy some special place in society. You have to. Women have to be told that at this point in history, because they're all being told that they are placed on a pedestal in relation to everyone else around them, and it causes real problems in just everyday life and in their marriages and their relationships. You cannot view yourself as superior to everyone without that having consequences on your marriage. And so this is why it's very important, guys, for you to be pursuing someone who is capable and willing to be trained alongside you, because you're going to have to train each other in marriage to know how to better serve each other's needs. And you have to be willing to find someone who is humble enough to consider the possibility that the world just doesn't revolve around them, and they have to treat you like a valuable person as well, not just them. They are not the table for which you bring services to, as Homath, that other YouTuber, would describe it. You are both people bringing things to the table, and you need to find a woman, very rare now, who is willing to accept the idea that she is a part of the giving equation and is also willing to grow with you.
Oh my God. That hits. That's hard. That's rough. because I just know that's true. And I hate saying it out loud because I realize I am saying it to you guys. And there are so many of you that have been cast aside by women that told you they loved you. And now you're hearing, oh no, it was nothing more than a reaction to letting good business go elsewhere. And that's why you end up in family court acting like this is some kind of a business negotiation or deal, because it always was. And I hate saying it, but it's truth. And we need to know what the truth is.
Yeah, that is really harsh and really true. But I think what's missing here is that we have to make an effort to make sure that it doesn't become purely a business transaction type of interaction, because we do have more to offer each other than just the basics and what do you give me versus what I get in return, because there's going to be ups and downs in relationships, and there's always going to be someone who gives more than the other at any given time. It's not always going to be a perfectly balanced equation. But yeah, to some extent, you need to view relationships as a business transaction, because you do need to be assessing whether or not you're getting what you deserve to get based on what you're giving. And that's the part that's missing, as people don't look at what do I bring to the relationship in relation to what I get. That's how people get taken advantage of. And it's also a consistent problem with, I think, a lot of girls that are raised as princesses now, is they think that they don't have to be someone who brings things to the relationship. They have the expectation that men are here to provide them with stuff.
Consequently, it is quite absurd for any man to think his wife being faithful merely because she does not go off with other men. Men who, in his eyes, are more attractive. Provided he is working hard and is supplying all the things that really matter to her, why should she? A woman's faithfulness has nothing in common with that of a man. Women are, in contrast to men, practically immune to the looks of the opposite sex. That's what I've been saying. Trust me. Don't listen to them when they're like, he's hot, he's this, he's that. It really isn't that. It's really not looks. It never has been. The only reason that a woman would choose a man for how he looks is to show him off to other women. And that's just like, sort of like the jewelry racket. It's sort of like diamonds being worth a lot of money. Like, okay, but have you seen them? They're like, why would you? They're just clear, plain rocks. But anyway, I'm telling you, looks don't actually matter to the woman. They're not actually attracted to looks.
So this is also true, but I also think it's something that men should be considered to be an extremely valuable, positive thing about women, because it's not simply about your looks. It's not that surface deep. They're looking for men who actually produce value, and your looks are something that can contribute to that equation, but they don't guarantee it. So when a woman notices your looks, it's a sign that you may be more likely to be capable of contributing value. But they're going to be assessing you over time, so the value of those looks will diminish over time as well. So so long, even if you're an ugly guy out there, take this as a positive. There's three components of masculinity I would say matter, and that's protect and provide. Those are the two main basics ones, and then create. Protect, provide, create. Protect and provide is pretty straightforward. That's giving them the things that they need, things that everybody needs to survive and thrive. Protecting those things once you have them. That's the reason why girls are attracted to the muscles. And then create. And that's why women are attracted to the intelligence and the humor. Humor is a sign that you have a variety of creative intelligences. You are capable of deriving new ideas from abstract thoughts.
Is full of anecdotes about male potentates enjoying themselves with many mistresses at the same time. But there are few such stories about female potentates. A woman would be bored to tears with an all-male harem. That is true. What are
Yeah, that one should be obvious, because a woman who takes in multiple men is typically a prostitute, and women who enjoy multi or enjoy not enjoy enjoy is the wrong word. Women who are promiscuous with multiple men typically don't assign much value to each of those men. Like I said, prostitutes essentially, and prostitutes get annoyed with their male companions. If you, I don't know if you can call them companions either. Prostitutes, female potentates, basically just get irritated by men and use them and toss them. So yeah, it's different. Men having lots of women, great. Women having lots of men, recipe for disaster, for both the women and the men. I also have to clarify that when I say that men having lots of women being great, I don't mean that it's going to lead to happiness. I'm just saying that the average man would be just perfectly happy with having lots of female sexual partners. Um, Not that it contributes to long-term, consistent joy. So she says that women make ideal companions for each other, but I think there are truths and falsities in this clip at the same time. I think to say that women make ideal companions for themselves is actually true for both sexes. I think women make ideal companions for both men and women because of just their more tender, empathetic nature, to some extent. There's just the two sides of the same. It's just the double-edged sword concept. So women can be, like I said, more considerate, more empathetic, but at the same time, they're also competing with each other. So that equation can work in some circumstances, but ultimately, I think over time, if you've got two women who are trying to function as companions, they're going to constantly sense that underlying competition between the two of them, and it's not going to work out. Also, they're going to desire to promote their own position in society, their social hierarchy. So they will be constantly seeking to promote themselves above each other, which is inevitably going to result in them seeking their own place, having their own things that aren't shared between them. So that is when men enter the equation, obviously, and they go their own separate ways. What I do think is true, though, is that she said there's almost no eccentric women, and that's definitely true. That they are out there, but very few. And even girls who are autistic are also much more highly functioning than men. Women are just more socially oriented than guys are. They are more oriented towards conforming, and they're more oriented towards socially competing. So, in order to socially compete, naturally, you have to engage socially.
Companions for each other, like the Golden Girls and Designing Women and The Facts of Life. We had all these TV shows kind of promoting that, didn't we? Look at Laverne and Shirley. That was early on, early days. Friends. Their feelings and instincts are retarded at the same primitive level, and they are almost no individualistic or eccentric women. And there are almost no individualistic or eccentric women. It isn't difficult to imagine the paradise they would create together and how exciting their existence would be, even if the intellectual level was appallingly low. But who would worry about it?
So there were a few minutes left in that video, but I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up because it's kind of more of the same. I think you guys get the point at this point in the video, and to sum it all up, everything, virtually everything in that video relates to social hierarchy and evolutionary psychology. We keep on making these complex advice tutorials discussing society and how men and women fit into it. And really, if you just take the time to think, if men and women evolved as cavemen and cavewomen, what kind of behaviors would have evolved to make them more likely to survive and reproduce, to have similarly surviving, thriving, and reproducing children? And that basically sums up everything. We don't need to overcomplexify this. Complexify, is that a word? We don't need to make this subject more complex than it already is. Evolutionary psychology, social hierarchy.